In the movie, the theological implications of the Hartle-Hawking model are raised in a conversation between Jane, Stephen, and their friend Jonathan. Jane begins, "Stephen's done a U-turn. The big new idea is that the universe has no boundaries at all. No boundaries, no beginning. Oh, and no God. Oh, I see. I thought that you proved that the universe had a beginning and thus a need for a creator. My mistake. No, mine. Stephen is looking for a single theory that explains all the forces in the universe. Therefore, God must die." Oh, why must God die? I don't see. The two great pillars of physics are quantum theory, the laws that govern the very small, particles, electrons, and so on, and general relativity. Yes, Einstein. Einstein's theory, the laws that govern the very large, planets and such. But quantum and relativity, don't tell me, they're different. They don't play remotely by the same rules. If the world were all potatoes, then easy, you could trace a precise beginning, as Stephen once did. A moment of creation. Hallelujah, God lives. But if you incorporate peas into the menu, then it all goes a little haywire. This all becomes a godless mess. Oh dear. God is back on the endangered species list. Well, I expect he'll cope. As Jonathan rightly discerned, the theological implications which Hawking seeks to draw from the model are highly suspect. There is no reason at all that God could not have created a universe described by the Hartle-Hawking model. When I spoke personally with James Hartle in his office at UCSB, he saw absolutely no theological implications in the model. Indeed, by positing a finite imaginary time on a closed surface prior to the Planck time, rather than an infinite time on an open surface, such a model actually seems to support, rather than undercut, the fact that time in the universe had a beginning. Such a theory, if successful, would enable us to model the beginning of the universe without an initial singularity involving infinite density, temperature, pressure, and so on. But as physicist John Barrow of Cambridge University points out, this type of quantum universe has not always existed. It comes into being, just as the classical cosmologies could. But it does not start at a Big Bang where physical quantities are infinite. Barrow points out that such models are often described as giving a picture of creation out of nothing, the only caveat being that in this case, there is no definite point of creation. Hawking's crucial misstep is his assumption that having a beginning entails having a beginning point. Ancient Greek paradoxes about starting and stopping have long since taught us otherwise. Imagine that a cannonball has a last instant at which it is at rest before being fired from the cannon. In such a case, there is no point at which the cannonball first begins to move. For at any point after its final instant of rest, there will be a prior instant at which it was already in motion, ad infinitum. Yet no one would say that the cannonball does not have a finite trajectory and a cause of its motion. So having a beginning does not imply having a beginning point. Time begins to exist just in case for any finite temporal interval you choose, there are only a finite number of equal temporal intervals earlier than it. That condition is fulfilled for the Hartle-Hawking model as well as for the Standard Model.